Alright, so look, we gotta talk about what's happening with this set. This set has skyrocketed in value in the last couple of weeks. And why is that happening? Well, because Disney announced a change to the name, and the new version of this set is going to be called Boba Fett's Starship. The Slave One name has been deprecated. Now, I'm not here to talk about my opinions on the Slave One name. You know, whatever your opinions are on that, that's fine. But what I want to talk about is what happened to the price of this set. What we've seen happen in the last couple of weeks with this set is super important for everybody to understand as Lego investors and resellers, right? This is some fundamental stuff that, you know, we really need to pay attention to, because this can inform our buying decisions in the future, right? And so we'll talk about what happened with this price. We'll talk about the demand and the supply and, you know, the influencing factors that have caused the price of this set to skyrocket on Amazon up to $300 in the last couple weeks since Disney announced the change to the name of the Slave One. So we'll look at that, and then we'll talk about what can we take away from this, right? How can we use this information in the future? What's the underlying concept here that we can leverage as Lego investors going forward with our businesses? Let us know in the comments section below if you bought this set, if you wish you bought this set, if you're going to be buying the new Boba Fett Starship set. What do you think about the Slave One Lego sets in general? Drop your comments below. We read every single comment, and we'd love to have that discussion with you. So let's just jump in. Let's jump onto the computer here and actually look at what happened with this set over the last couple weeks. Okay, so I'm right here on Amazon.com, and I've pulled up the listing for the Lego Star Wars Slave One set. Now, this is the 20th anniversary set. It retired at the end of last year, which is 2020. And last year's 20th anniversary edition of the Slave One was the last time, according to the information we have right now at least, that the Slave One name will appear on a Lego set. So since the announcement by the Lego Group of the new set that's coming out this year, the value of this one has shot through the roof. And the reason that that's really happened is because of demand increasing, right? So we have a sudden surge from collectors and Star Wars fans to buy the old version because they want the one that has Slave One in the name. And so that's what we've seen happen with the Slave One 20th anniversary set that retired at the end of last year. So here it is on Amazon, and let's dig into the data a little bit here. I'm going to use a tool here on my screen called the FBA multi-tool. We've talked about it in the past in some videos. Usually in our videos we use camel for simplicity, right? So that's a tool that will show you price and how price can change on Amazon over time. The FBA multi-tool gets a lot deeper, right? It can show us a lot more information. It can show us the demand and the supply in addition to the price, right? So that's how we can really analyze and get deep on a Lego set. So I'm going to use this tool to do some analysis on this set. It is a paid tool, but if you want to join the FBA multi-tool and you think that this can be useful for you in your Lego investing business, click the link in the description below. You'll get a 10% off coupon there. So let's dig in and let's look at this, right? So right away, these kind of dark bluish gray boxes that you see on my listing page right here on Amazon are from the FBA multi-tool. It lives in your Chrome browser and it displays some data right there on the listing page. And right away you can see the sales estimate per month, right? Super powerful information to have. So we can see that the sales estimate on this set is 292 to 339. So somewhere in that range is how many of these units are selling each month. And if we scroll down a little bit, right here on the right side, we can do a calculation on what the return on investment would be if we sold at that market price right now. So what would our buy price be? So this set retailed for $120. So if we bought it at retail and we put 120 in here and we click calculate profit, right here we can see we have already over doubled our money. And this set retired at the end of 2020. So we're half a year after retirement and we've already doubled our money if we bought it at the retail price. Now let's imagine if we were able to buy this set at 20% off during, you know, Q4 or Prime Day or something like that. We would have paid 96 for the set. Then we would be having a profit. We pay 96, we'd have a profit of $153, which is a return on investment of 159%. after just a half of a year. So this is incredible what's happening with this set. It's really going to the moon. So let's look at what exactly has caused this and how the price action has been affected in the last couple of weeks since the announcement. So if we scroll down further, what we're going to see here is this chart or graph on our listing page. This is the FBA multi-tool pulling in sales data and displaying it to us to show us how many sales we've seen in the last given time period and what that's done to the price, right? Now we have some options here to change the date range. So for example, right now on this graph, we're looking at the last 3 months, okay? Now the green line here we see here is the sales. And I'll actually simplify it a little bit by taking out some of the other colors so we can just focus on that green line. So this green line right here, every time it drops, it's a sale, okay? So if we see this line going down, it means that there was a sale that day. And as you can see, you know, this is a 3-month view, and over the last couple months you can see that it's selling very, very steadily. Now this Amazon sales rank or the bestseller rank is a great indication of demand on Amazon. So this tells us whether something is selling fast or it's not, right? And it gives us a real idea of what the demand is on a set. As prices grow, that sales rank will increase, right? So the sales rank on this 20th anniversary Slave One, while it was still in production and it was available for $120 or less, would have been a lot lower than what you see, which is like 30,000, 35,000, 40,000. The reason it was high right here is because the price of the set was inflated since retirement, but it was still selling very, very frequently. Now, when we get to the announcement of the name change on the Slave One, which happened on around June 27th, maybe June 26th, around there, if we look at the graph here, what we see is this sudden drop, right? The graph suddenly plummets. This means more sales, right? So we had a sudden surge of sales, a sudden surge in demand, which caused this green line to drop. Now we see the sales rank went down as low as 3,800, which is incredible. That's a very fast selling sales rank. And this happened at an inflated price. So remember, this set was selling at, you know, over $200 at this point, and then the announcement came out and there was still so much demand and such a surge in demand that it still dropped to lower than 5,000 sales rank. That's how much this announcement impacted the sales and the demand on the 20th anniversary Slave One. So let's add the price to our graph here and start to think about, you know, what has happened to the price in the last couple of weeks. So if I add new price to the graph, now we see this blue line has been added in. The blue line is, you know, what is the lowest price that this has been selling at in new condition. And so if I hover over this back in April, we see it was selling for around $244 or $245, and the sales rank was 38,000. Now it increased a little bit and it's going up a little bit to 250, and then it goes up to 266, and then we had the announcement. Now what happened here is a lot of the people that had listed, a lot of the sellers who had listed this for $260 sold through all their inventory because the demand was so high, and then you have a sudden surge and jump to 289 in the new price. And as we can see, if we scroll up here, now it's at 302. So we went from 250 to 300 within the space of about a month, just over a month, which is a very big jump for a set that's already retired. We can see those kind of jumps at the beginning for sets that suddenly do retire, but for sets that are, you know, slowly appreciating, to have a sudden jump of $50 like that, it's a big jump. Now if we scroll down a little more, FBA Multi-Tool gives us these boxes right here with certain trends and certain data points. So we can look at the new price average, for example, right? And we can see how this is changing. It's climbing, of course, right? If you look at the 7-day, in the last 7 days, the average new price has been 289. In the last 30 days, it's been 267. In the last 90 days, it's been 258. So that climb between the average over 90 days and the average over 7 days is important to pay attention to. And then, you know, we have, if you look at the sales rank, of course, that is climbing. But what's interesting here, so BSR is bestseller rank, and that denotes demand on Amazon. What's interesting to look at here is this drop, right? So in the last 90 days, the average was 31,000, or was around 31,000, but then it dropped to 29,000 because that sudden drop in rank to 5,000-6,000 pulled the average down so much. So, we see a rank improvement basically, even though the price was rising. And it's important to keep that in mind. Usually as price rises, the demand comes down a little bit, which is totally normal. But we had a case here where the price was rising and the demand was still increasing, right? So demand shot through the roof, which obviously caused the price to rise, but the demand continued to be there even after we had higher prices. So as we can see here, the announcement and something changing when it comes to a licensed pop culture brand can lead to a sudden surge in demand, right? And we all know this is nothing crazy new. But when we really think about it in terms of our Lego investing business, it's important to keep in mind. And I like to call this relevancy. When you look at a theme or a set, we should always be thinking, how relevant is this theme now to pop culture, and how relevant will it be in the future? Because that's a huge lever of demand, right? So if you're looking at the Winnie the Pooh set, or the Sesame Street set, or the Star Wars sets, or the Harry Potter sets, you always need to try and project and think about how relevant will this thing be in a couple of years. Slave One right now is an extremely relevant set because it's appearing in The Mandalorian and there's a new Boba Fett TV show coming out. Sesame Street, maybe, there's less stuff coming in the next couple of years that might prop up that demand, right? And I'm not saying that set doesn't have a lot of demand. It's just an example as to what you should be thinking about when it comes to relevancy, right? And over time, is there something that might prop up demand and drive or surge the demand? Now, you could have a case like what we just saw with the Slave One happen with Sesame Street. There could be an announcement, there could be a deprecation or some name change, or something could happen to one of the voice actors, or, you never know what could happen that can cause a surge in demand. But wherever we can, we should prepare and think about relevancy and think about whether, there's something coming up that could impact the demand on this set. Now, with some themes, it's easier than others, right? With Jurassic World, we know there's going to be another movie. With Frozen, we know there's going to be another movie. So we should think about those things, right? What's going to happen to the value if there's another movie? What's going to happen to the price of the old stuff if there's a sudden surge in demand because the relevancy to pop culture has increased? And you might be asking, how does relevancy to pop culture impact this situation? Because the Slave One, what happened with this demand surge was unexpected, and it's not really because there's a Boba Fett TV show coming out, it's because the name was changed and old fans wanted to buy it up, and new fans wanted to buy it up. But the thing is, the impact to relevancy is still there. It's just kind of behind the scenes, right? If this happened with a show that nobody cared about, then yeah, sure, some people would flock to try and buy up the Lego set, but the demand surge wouldn't be as great as it is here. The fact that it happened with the Slave One, which is already in such high demand because of its relevancy right now, that's what really caused this to happen. So it's really important to understand the underlying impact and keep that in mind. Because if something happened with a different set that maybe was just less in right now, for lack of a better word, I don't think we would have seen the same level of impact that we saw with the Slave One. So always keep relevancy in mind, keep pop culture in mind, and keep an eye on the horizon. What movies are coming out, what TV shows are coming out, what books are coming out that could impact future demand for Lego sets. And if you keep that in mind, it might help you to make smarter investment decisions, and then maybe you might be able to benefit from sudden surges in demand like what we just saw happen with the 20th anniversary Slave One. So that's it for this video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this set. It is an interesting case study in terms of what can happen when demand suddenly jumps on a Lego set. And we can see people selling this set now for $300, and they bought it 7 or 8 months ago for less than 100 maybe. So great example of what's possible in Lego investing. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please hit the like button. Once again, I'm Shane from brickbucks.net, and I will see you in the next one.